Hi friends near and far, and beloved greetings from the Andes again. So we're going to continue on the topic of the nature of evil, and we're going to talk about the spiritual warfare and destruction of innocence. Now those of you who didn't see my previous video, where I explain about the satanic doctrine, I highly recommend that you actually go and watch that first, because it will give you a far better context for the topic of this video that I'm making now. So as always, we are examining the nature of evil in order to ascertain that we ourselves don't unconsciously harbor their belief systems and thus unconsciously perpetuate their dark agenda on this earth. So once again, let's be willing to journey within and walk the path of truth. Let's be self-loving and self-respecting enough to face ourselves, to truly look within, and be willing to let go of those things that don't serve our true nature, which is, of course, love. That is who we are. If you don't resonate with that and you don't think that our true nature is love, then this video is not for you. You can log out and go find something else to watch. For you who know that we have a divine origin and that we are here to learn how to make our way back home, to learn how to truly embody our divine nature, then this video is for you. And there's some things that are really good for you to ponder and contemplate. Now, I myself have been on this spiritual path for the last 10 years. And I can tell you it has been the most difficult and yet the most liberating journey of my entire life. Because I have come to face my shadows. All of those things in myself that I was ashamed of, that I wanted to run away from. But until we meet those things in ourselves, we are actually bound by them. We are enslaved by them spiritually, and we can't find inner peace. So, by acknowledging the things that we have done that have gone against our true nature and the harmony of this creation, we can rectify those actions. We can ask for forgiveness. And we can consciously decide not to do that again. And this is what Yeshua teaches us when he says, "If you do not bring forth what is within you, what is within you will destroy you. If you bring forth what is within you, what is within you will save you." This has been my golden guidepost throughout the last 10 years, and it has given me the strength to look within over again and again and again, and face all those parts of myself that I wasn't proud of, all those things that I had done that had hurt myself and others. So this is my invitation to you to step on that journey in order to liberate yourself spiritually. And this is what the evil does not want us to do. The evil ones want to totally enslave us deeper and deeper into the burdens of our immoral acts. And they do this through deception, through manipulation, through lies and false ideologies and false religions. And we have fallen in our consciousness to a state of slumber where we no longer wonder what are the consequences of our actions and our beliefs. But we have adopted their moral relativism and believe that each to their own and that everything is up for grabs and we can just do whatever we desire. How is this manifesting? In the way that we treat our fellow creatures on this plane. The animals. Those who bring us so much joy because they are absolutely pure. And they embody that sacred nature that is our true nature as well, which is love. But unfortunately, we have bought this lie that they are lower than us, and that because of that we have the right to do whatever we please with their bodies, and we have begun to crave for the taste of their flesh. I can share with you one of the most profound moments of my life. This always makes me emotional, and that changed my life forever. I wasn't expecting this. Okay, well, anyway, I'm a human, so I feel. But I had a vision. I had a vision of all the animals that I myself was personally responsible for having killed through my diet, because I ate animals every single meal of my day. And it was a football field full of animals, thousands of them. And they were all looking at me. And that was the first time that I truly connected to the suffering of animals. I understood. They have their families too. They are capable of feeling love and fear just like me. And that it wasn't my right to humiliate them and abuse them and eat their flesh just because I liked the taste of it. I understood that it was wrong. So I stopped. I went vegan, and it's not because of some philosophy of ism. It's because I knew and felt at the core of my soul the blood that was in my hands. I felt the consequences of my selfish desires. I was nascent. I didn't truly understand the nature of the animal agriculture industry. And I was also ignorant because I had never wanted to face the consequences of my actions every time I was paying for these animal products and eating them. So I came to terms with that, and I wanted to rectify it. So I stopped, and I haven't touched them ever since. And that was the moment that I connected to the suffering of all. Not just the animals, but also all the indigenous people. The third world countries, the starving children, everyone. It was like this tombstone was removed from my heart. And that's when I realized that the fact that we are abusing and torturing and murdering these animals by the billions, 73 billion land animals slaughtered every single year. I mean, imagine that blood. How much blood comes out of those creatures? Who do you think that is feeding? The beast. But when I understood that, I understood by eating these creatures, I was somehow spiritually blocking my heart, my purity. I was sabotaging myself. I was corrupting my own innocence. And I can tell you, now when I see a cow, I can truly look into their eyes and see their beauty without a single shadow of guilt anywhere buried within my consciousness. Because I no longer support the industry that exploits them. So I recommend for you to take that step if you're ready and watch some footage of what is happening to these animals. How pigs are being put into gas chambers. How 4-day-old male baby calves are being shot in the head with a bolt gun because they are not useful in the dairy industry. Or how the tiny little fluffy baby chicks who have just hatched from their eggs are being ground up alive in this massive blender because they're not useful to the egg industry. You see, this is corrupting us. We are measuring the worth of another simply by how much pleasure we get out of them. That is a predatorial way of being. Another way that we have been lied to and manipulated to destroy our innocence and that sacred feminine principle of our consciousness, which is care and compassion, is through the non-medical elective practice of abortion. We are being told that abortion is simply a standard medical procedure of getting rid of some slime in the womb, that is just an indistinct clump of cells that is being taken out, that it has no worth, has no dignity. But there are abortionists who have come out, people who are actually performing these procedures, and have said that they are clearly human. There are photos of aborted, unborn children. They have a heartbeat by the time they are only 40 days old. And by the time the majority of the abortions are performed, they already have recognizable human faces and little fingers and toes, and all their organs are formed. And, you know, I work as a healer, so I've met many women who've been deeply traumatized by the abortion. They go in thinking that it's not going to affect them in any way. There's just something that has to be done because it was an inconvenient situation in their lives and they're not ready for parenthood, and that it's okay because society is saying that it's okay. It's a normal thing. It's a woman's right. That's what we're being sold. And they go in and they regret it afterwards. And they suffer from PTSD and depression and nightmares and horrific panic attacks. Because in their soul, they knew that abortion is about ending a life. And all life is sacred, whether unwanted or wanted, whether unborn or born. And of course, sometimes it's what one has to do because they have been raped or it would kill the mother. Of course, women should be allowed to perform it in these situations. But what we have to come to terms with is, are we misusing the free will? That where the line comes, when is it something that is against love? That are we just simply doing it out of a fear or out of selfish reasons because we don't want to disrupt our career or something? We have to come to terms with this, that this is having a consequence, not just to us individually, but is having a consequence to the people who are performing these procedures. It's dehumanizing for them and for these women who are being traumatized, and to the collective. You know, I tell you a story. One very close friend of mine, their grandmother was raped. And she decided to have the child anyway. And my friend told me that this man who was conceived through rape was actually the most angelic being that he had ever met in his whole life. That he was such a beautiful man. He grew up to be a fireman. And he was like the local hero. He saved the lives of so many people. A man who could have been aborted, but was given the mercy of life instead. And another story was when I was doing some animal rights activism last year. an elderly Irish couple came to me, and the man was looking at the footage that we were showing on the laptop from the slaughterhouses where baby animals were being killed, their throats were being slit, and they were suffering in horrific agony. And this man asked me, he said, "Oh, what do you think about abortion?" And I said to him, I think that all life is sacred. If it's for a non-medical reason, I think abortion is not right. And he said, "Oh, thank God. I thought you guys are a bunch of hypocrites who have put the value of the life of an animal before the life of a human." And then he said to me, "Okay, well, my wife here, she should have been aborted. But her mother decided to give her away for adoption instead. So we have dedicated our lives to speak in behalf of these unborn children." There are tens of millions of abortions performed every single year. But there are those who recognize that this is doing something, once again, to that sacred heart of humanity, that we are annihilating something through this practice. And it is true. If we understand how natural law works, how cause and effect and law of correspondence are immutable, eternal laws, then we can begin to understand how is it that we are manifesting so much violence on this plane of being. And another thing that I want to bring to light is what is being done to the bodies of these aborted unborn children. Some of them are being sold for embryonic stem cell research. Their bodies are cut up and their organs are sold. And some of them are also being used for the vaccine industry. They use their tissues to grow these toxic putrid substances and viruses on. So we have to also ask ourselves, is that something that we are willing to commit to? That if we do the abortion, that there's a possibility that the body of that fetus is being used for scientific experimentation. Okay, this part is going to be the one that many people may find extremely upsetting. So I'm giving just a warning, because I'm going to start talking about satanic ritual abuse. So if you understand that by us harboring this belief of that it is justified for us to exploit the bodies of beings that we believe are lower than us, then we are actually spiritually agreeing to our own bodies being exploited as well. If we agree to torturing and killing the babies of other beings that we consider to be worthless because they are lower than us, then once again, we are spiritually agreeing to beings that consider themselves to be higher than us to exploit and murder our own babies. This is the reality that we are manifesting through those beliefs and through those actions. And this is what's feeding that in terms of the cosmic causality. So we have to stop feeding the beast with our own immoral actions. We have to take a stand and begin to embody our true nature, which is love. But these dark occultists, these Satanists and Luciferians, they perform human sacrifice constantly. If you think that was a thing from the past, then I'm very sorry to tell you that it's still happening. About 1 million children go missing every single year. And they end up in these pedophile circles where they are sodomized in the most unholy ways. And they are cut up and their blood is drunk from them while they're still alive. This is happening. I, as a healer, have met victims of satanic ritual abuse. It's happening, okay? These people believe that we are lower than them, and that we are spiritually not as developed as them. And thus they have the right to do whatever they want with our bodies, and they have the right to eat our flesh because they crave for it. And this constant sodomy and murder that is happening to the most innocent of our kind is felt in the collective. We are all feeling it. There is a dark grid around this earth of despair and agony. And some of these children are being used as their soulless flesh robots, because what they do is they traumatize the child so much that they totally annihilate their prefrontal cortex, their ability to feel compassion. They are so traumatized that they are actually killing the humanity away from their souls. They are exhausting their brain with such continuous trauma that they become hollow inside. And there are whistleblowers who talk about this. They become these controlled slaves for these inverted elites of this world. And another way they are destroying our innocence is feeding us filth through media, through movies, through pop music. You know, some of these ginormous stars, when they record their albums, they perform a satanic ritual while they're recording the music. They lace the music with their spell, which is why the song gets stuck into your head and you can't stop singing it in a negative way. It's all very disharmonious, and they fill the music videos of these artists with sigils and dark symbology. Just look at Katy Perry and Lady Gaga and the absolute filth that they are spewing out to the children of our species, to the teenagers who are idolizing them, whose parents are not taking responsibility for what their children are watching, and they're allowing their children's innocence to be completely corrupted by participating, watching these satanic rituals which are inside the music videos, where they're pretending to be eating human flesh. In the name of art. You all know probably of this satanic priestess, Marina Abrava something. I don't even need to say her name because she's an absolute disgrace of a creature. She performs these things called spirit cooking. And this was actually leaked in the emails, linked to high power politicians who were taking part in these dinners. This is all to do with generating entities and summoning demons. She also hosts these dinner parties where they do cannibalism simulations, where they make cakes and foods to look like human bodies, which then they cut up with knives and eat. This is at the core of our so-called pop culture and art, the modern day art. And we are watching this absolute filth produced by the Hollywood, which is laced once again with hidden imagery and sigils and violence and immoral acts. And we are once again annihilating that sacred heart. We are growing passive and apathetic by laughing and eating popcorn while we're watching other people pretending to be killing each other on the street. This is what I'm talking about. It's so widespread, we've adopted it as our culture. For entertainment's sake, we are watching this filth and pornography of sex slaves and people being raped that cost nothing. Of course they want to make the porn free so we can all consume it as much as we can. Sexually fantasizing about people that we've never met, watching them performing acts with people who we don't know if they're part of sex slavery and sex trafficking. It's time that we return to our innocence and take a stand for what it is to be human, and I mean human with a capital H. Not just someone who looks like a human and lives here on this earth, because there's those of us who are no longer human. They just simply carry the vehicle. So what is needed now in this spiritual war that is happening is the absolute commitment to love and walking the path of truth, not allowing these sick psychopathic parasites to anymore enslave us and use our immoral actions as their fuel, as their justification to perform those acts on us. And we all have this power because we are creator beings. We all have the power to cut that connection and really begin to embody our true nature. It all comes down to the one law that we have been given. The golden rule. Do unto others what you would want them to do unto you. It's that simple. If we just live by that golden rule, we can restore love on this earth. Oh, there's a hummingbird in the eucalyptus tree there. Oh, that's a good sign. There is a lot of hope for us. There is. So we just have to have that courage to face ourselves and face this world as it is, so that we can apply the correct treatment and heal this world, heal ourselves. I send you so much love and faith, and sorry for the noise in the background. Someone, I guess, is illegally working over there and maybe fixing their house during this lockdown. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm really happy to talk to all of you and respond to your messages. And I just want to say one last time, you are worth it. You are amazing. And you are so loved. You are loved beyond your imagination by celestial beings that are forever with us. And it is our free will to choose whether we want to commune with them, whether we want to communicate with them and learn from them, because they are always here, and they're always here as well. Send you so much love, and God bless you.